This is Dr. Walid Kadro, consultant interventional cardiologist, reporting a case of retrieval of a portacath from the right ventricular outflow tract. This is a case of a 13-year-old boy diagnosed to have retroperitoneal tumor 18 months ago. Surgical resection of the tumor was done after the diagnosis. The oncologist recommended chemotherapy after resection, and a portacath was inserted through the right subclavian vein. The catheter was used for almost 3 months, then it was noted to be blocked. The oncologist decided to stop using this catheter, and chemotherapy was given through a peripheral vein at that time. Chest X-ray showed the catheter distal tip in the superior vena cava. The patient continued to receive regular clinical and imaging follow-up. He did reasonably well for more than 8 months. The last chest CT done to evaluate the lung for metastasis showed by chance that there is a catheter in the right ventricular outflow tract and extending into the pulmonary artery. Chest X-ray confirmed that the distal portion of the catheter migrated to the right ventricular outflow tract and the pulmonary artery. The proximal portion of the catheter was easily removed through a local incision in the right subclavian area. The patient was referred to me for possible catheter-based intervention to retrieve the distal portion of this portacath. This is the chest X-ray showing that this is the catheter extending in the pulmonary artery, the right ventricle, and the right atrium. So for the intervention, I put an 8 French introducer sheath in the right femoral vein, and I used a guiding catheter, H French guiding catheter, Judkin right catheter. This was flushed and prepared in the usual way. An 0.035 wire with a length of 260 centimeter was inserted in the proximal lumen of the guiding catheter to the distal lumen of that catheter. The wire was bent and reinserted through the guiding catheter again from the distal to the proximal lumen. So at the proximal end of the guiding catheter, the 2 ends of the wire were used to open and close the loop of the wire at the distal end of the catheter. So this fluoroscopy explained this is the guiding catheter, and you see 2 layers of wire inside it, and this is the portacath that we are planning to retrieve. The catheter with the closed wire was introduced to the right atrium and directed toward the right ventricle. By handling the ends of the wire outside the body, the loop was opened and manipulated to capture the portacath in the right ventricular outflow tract. After several maneuvers, I was able to capture the catheter and retrieve it from the femoral vein. The guiding catheter, the loop of the wire, and the portacath all were stuck at the distal tip of the introducer sheath. After careful manipulation, I was able to pull out everything together with the introducer sheath. So this is the fluoroscopy again, and this is a cine angiogram showing the retrieval all the way from the right atrium down to the femoral vein. And this is the last picture showing that this is the portacath that was retrieved. This is the introducer sheath, and this is the loop of the wire, and this is the guiding catheter. The area of the right femoral vein was closed by manual compression, and the patient did well, and he was discharged the same day in the evening.